Hey y'all, it is Friday evening. I'll post this after I get done recording. Last night I had a dream. Let me back up and say I had these bouts of anxiety these past 2 weeks to the point that I started breaking out in hives, and I was trying to identify the source. I thought maybe I had a nutrient deficiency. I was trying to see if I was suppressing anything, if I was overworking myself, and it wasn't until a few days ago that I started praying about it and looking inward spiritually to see if it was something that I needed to understand and that I was picking up on. And that's essentially what I got. The information is that it was outside of myself and that I needed to pay attention to it and not insert myself into what I was perceiving. I was supposed to perceive it, not internalize it. And I've only had, like, for me personally, true anxiety. I had one anxiety attack almost 10 years ago and it was spiritually related. So I knew something was going on. And so last night I asked again, and this time I started using oracle cards. And the oracle cards were saying the exact same thing that I was picking up on intuitively, which is to look at things from a different perspective, stop looking at it from my narrow point of view, and to pay attention to colors. Colors were significant because they are vibrations, and that's energy, and that's another way that spirit can communicate with me of whatever is supposed to be important. And so I got a little frustrated because I feel like I was being open-minded and I was trying to figure things out, and so that's not telling me what I need to know. And so when I went to bed, I woke up in the middle of the night and I felt a presence around me, and it felt like a person that was deceased, someone that I didn't know. They felt like they were in the medical field or the scientific field, and it was either a male or a female with a very straightforward type of personality, and they had light skin. I would describe their skin like mine, where I'm technically olive skinned, but sometimes I look yellow, so it's a little bit of a color to them, but they're very light in color. They have dark hair, short dark hair, and they were telling me that I'm gonna make this YouTube friendly, so I'm gonna paraphrase that there was gonna be a third release of something similar to what occurred in the 1950s in San Francisco. And this is a side note, this was not part of my vision, but it just reminded me. There's a class action lawsuit for people who were stationed in, I believe, Fort Jackson in the 80s, 70s, 60s. When I think they opened up in the 50s. Can't remember. Just look into that if you know someone who might have been stationed there during those years, because they might be eligible for some compensation over there, or if you're just interested in what that is about, it's polluted water. They knew it was polluted and it was causing cancers, and I think even generational cancers. I'm not entirely sure there. But anyway, so in San Francisco, there was an event, and the people saw this happen, but they weren't aware of what it was. So people were becoming hospitalized and dying because of this, but they didn't know what it was. So they related it to that. Now, what I infer from this is that that means that there were two prior events that have already occurred, very close in time to each other, and that they were two completely different things. They were identified as two completely different things. The origins of them were completely identified, and that they are not natural. They're artificially created, artificially released. And there's going to be a third one, which means that it's not presently released. I don't feel, I mean, that's kind of what I felt like they were saying, is that it's not released yet. And that this, the way that it differs from these is that it would not be known at all. It would not be identified. It would not be, the origin would not be known. It would not be detected. And I could feel the symptoms. The symptoms I was feeling is disorientation, heaviness, general heaviness of the body, shortness of breath, coughing, excessive coughing. My kidneys were in excruciating pain, and my reproductive system was hurting. It was hurting, but not as intensely as my kidneys. And so those are the symptoms that I saw. So once again, disorientation, painful kidneys, painful reproductive system, coughing, shortness of breath, heaviness of the body. And there was a significance to, well, to me personally, I kept seeing repetitions of threes leading up to last night's dream. Then during the dream, which I'll get to the rest of the dream, and then today. So I'm not sure what that's about, but 3 is significant to me in the spiritual sense, because multitude of things. The first thing is it takes the help of 3 to get things done. It takes God, it takes spirit communicating to your guardian angels, and then from your guardian angels communicating to you, and that brings about whether or not you take action on that feeling in you, right? Like that nudge, that spiritual nudge, or that creative expression, right? So from you listening to your heart, you're listening to your intuition, and through all of that, you're listening to source. And so that's like the 3. You, your spiritual guardians, and God, because they're working for God. And so that, and then also with my spiritual journey, it is my personal visions have come in sets of 3 maximum. I've gotten to the point where I fluctuate between 1 or 2, but every once in a while it gets to 3, but I never exceed that, where essentially when this first vision will come through, it's very intense and I'm nearly blindsided by it, and sometimes I'll make excuses, like logically it doesn't make sense. You know, when you rely on faith, there's no physical proof of anything, and it doesn't necessarily make sense with where you are in your current space, right? So I kind of put it off to the side. Then the second time it comes through, I will consider it potentially a coincidence. If it comes through a third time and I've ignored it both times, that's when I kick it into high gear and I do not disobey. I will listen immediately because I feel like that's like the final message from Spirit. Like, you better do what we're telling you to do. Like, we're commanding you on your journey. Otherwise, you're just disobeying Spirit. You're disobeying your path. You're disobeying your intuition. And so that's just how it's significant personally. And so when I had this dream and I saw everything I just told you, I told myself I better get up and write this down so I don't forget it. And then I had this thought, oh, well, you know what? If I feel it's really that important, then I'll remember everything and I'll talk about it tomorrow. And then I almost rolled over to the other side, like towards my phone, and I was like, you know what? I'll put it in my notes on my phone. And I thought, I really don't want to go all the way over there and record and write it down. So I closed my eyes and there was this flash of light, like intense flash of light, so vibrant, so bright. It was white, but it felt like a white diamond, or it felt like silver. It didn't feel like it was metallic. It was just brilliance, pure brilliance. And it was like someone took a picture of me. That's what the feeling I got. Someone took a picture and it shocked me. Not physically, it didn't feel like I physically shocked. It just took me by surprise. And you know that high-pitched sound when you take a picture with the old camera and it has that like winding up sound, right? The little high-pitched sound. I heard that and I was focusing on that sound, and as that sound dissipated, I heard a rooster crowing, and it crowed 3 times, and every time it crowed, I would get more and more fearful and just kind of like panicked. And I was thinking, like, my logical mind kicked in and I was thinking to myself, why am I... Hi, babe. My dog just shoved the other door open. Do you mind? I'm recording. Okay, there's a candle right there. Just stay back, okay? Go lay down if you need to. So my logical mind kicked in and I was thinking, like, I'm not one to be scared. Why am I feeling this way? Especially when it comes to spiritual experiences. It's not scary to me. And so I could kind of feel, it felt like my guardian angels were just like pulling me on the back of my head, like thumping my head, like, get it together, pay attention, you need to rise up, you need to ascend and look at this from a bigger perspective. Stop looking at it as if it was your perspective. And so as I was like pulled up, I looked and I could see all the souls. It was like the collective of souls, and they were enrobed in aquamarine light. And it was really beautiful. And that aquamarine, what that felt like to me, what it symbolized to me, which I need to look up the colors. Obviously, I need to go do that after I record this video, but what it felt like to me is innocence, purity, safety, comfort, truth, protection, or like our origins. It kind of reminded me, like, you know, aquamarine, like the water, so it kind of like pure water, it kind of reminded me of embryo, like the embiotic fluid, like souls encased in this safety. And around the souls, like outside of this bubble, was the gray area of discomfort, chaos, disorder, destruction. And so what I was seeing was basically everything that I was seeing globally that I've been talking about over and over again, of like this direct energy type of weaponry, wars that are going to be caused, and then like world events that were happening, and how I feel it's happening again now, like that direct energy thing that I was talking about, where they basically took a controlled experiment and put it into the uncontrolled environment, which is Earth, the world, to see how it would turn out. They weren't entirely sure. So it feels like it's going to happen again if it hasn't already. It felt like some sort of external event, like something from the sky, like radiating down. So what I just talked about felt like it was beneath the earth. The other thing felt like it was above the earth, like if it was an asteroid, or if it was like some other like intense thing from seemingly outside of this atmosphere that affects Earth. And it's just like all these different things happening, and how it's gonna get worse to the likes we've never seen before. And essentially we can only control what's within us. And this is also like, this is just what I believe, what I know to be the truth. And so this is why, another reason I was thinking, there's no reason for me to have anxiety for the things that I've even been saying on here that I believe, because of this truth, which is that everything ultimately happens in divine order, no matter how difficult it is or the way that it may seem. And that the truth is we are encased in this protection. Our souls are protected. And the most important thing for us to know in this life and to remember in this life is that we are on borrowed time with this experience. We are on a very limited scale. Everything is borrowed. The things that we own, the things that we do, like we use, and our bodies, it's borrowed. The impact that we leave, that's different, right? What we do here with this borrowed time sets the course for the future. All of us. And so, understanding that and believing that our souls are eternal, and that we just change form. We don't disappear. This isn't finite. This, just because we're here right now doesn't mean that we're finite. Then evil cannot weaponize the borrowed temporary things against us. This temporary reality against us. When we believe in this truth, then we will be more in our integrity. We will be more, connected to our moral compass. We will be more honest with ourselves and with other people. We will be more brave and stand up for what's right and stand up for what we believe. They, meaning anyone of evil or ignorance, will not be able to play upon your ego or play upon threats, some sort of threat against you, when you understand that you are eternal and that there is nothing. Well, I'll stop with that because I don't want to derail too much, but you get my train of thought with that. And so what I see is that there's going to be a lot of people. There already are, but it's intensifying. It's going to be intensifying, and I'm saying this as an opinion. This is not what I saw necessarily. I'm just brainstorming based off of what I've told you that I've seen in my visions. I would not be surprised if there was some form of global lockdown, whether it was because of something like before, or if something completely different that would cause that to happen, or if there was some sort of like shutdown of currency because of some shutdown of the electronic system, or something like that, like a temporary halt in our day-to-day life. Which I mentioned that in those readings, so I feel it's here, it's coming, it's very soon. And so today I was getting this message of 3 months, and I don't know if it's because of the number 3 that I kept feeling for everything, or 3 months is important. And also the moon, a new moon, or like a moon cycle. So I think there's a new moon next week, or I don't know. What if it's some 3 days from now? I have no idea when there's a new moon sometime. I don't know. I don't know how that correlates either. But again, that's just me brainstorming. That's not, I have no idea. I didn't see anything specific with that. So basically, there's going to be a lot more trauma. Because it's just a variety of things happening. There's so many different things that are going to be kicking up. And I saw the Midwest. There was a significance to the Midwest. I saw it in reference to America, but I don't know if that's just for my frame of reference, and so it would be like just the Midwest of another country, like that kind of part of their country, that there was something that was going to happen there soon, very soon. And essentially, just to repeat everything I've been saying, because it just keeps coming back up, is I think that anxiety, what I would correlate that to is this feeling of helplessness, this feeling of overwhelm. It's like, I'm only one person. How can I accomplish everything? Or how can I control everything? How can I save everything? And it's about bringing it back to center. And first of all, knowing those truths that I mentioned, and reminding yourself that you are safe, and that there's, through difficulties, beauty will always rise from that. The hardships, there will always be a sense of community, resurrection, and resurgence of love, compassion, understanding, faith, connectiveness through that. And so it's mostly just a message of peace be with you. Be in peace internally. And let that be your mantra in whichever way makes sense for you. So that was my dream. That's what I saw. And, you know, I don't know if I mentioned it. I was like trying to avoid it all day, because I guess there was a part of me that was challenging it. Like, is this really something that's like that important? I mean, it felt like it, but I don't know why I just kept postponing it. And I was just cleaning house, listening to like soft instrumental music, and it led me here right now that I just have to go ahead and tell you guys. So I'm gonna pull another card. I'm gonna pull a card because I don't like the way this is ending, personally. Fine. So the bottom is Archangel Raguel, Divine Order. Everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see the underlying order. And Archangel Shamuel, peace comes from remembering that only love is real. So, peace and divine order. I guess it's not up to me on whether I like the way it ends or not. That is what they say it has to end on. So, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.